Good evening, folks. I call this meeting of the Select Board for Monday, August 6th meeting to order. I'd like to ask you to join us as we pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My name is Chris Howe. I will be chairing the meeting this evening. Anybody that is in the audience, please sign in if you have not, for the convenience of our secretary. The first thing is public participation. Is there anything, if anybody has anything to say before we begin? Chairman has no remarks other than who I am and that I'm chairing the meeting. Minutes?
I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes with the correction of excess instead of access on page 4.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes as corrected with that correction on page 4. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. Historians, repairs to buildings?
Which one's the hot seat?
Either one.
Either one of these.
Both equally small.
Well, good evening again. I think there's been some discussion at the past meeting about some repairs and things that need to be done down at the museum. There was also, I understood, someone was going to do a little investigation and see what monies, if any, were available. Is there an answer on that?
I don't know. I haven't received any answer. I didn't know that we were supposed to look, so I'm sorry, I didn't
That's
get it
all
done.
right.
But Sally being in a little bit, so we could ask her. Now, you don't have a separate account,
Well,
do you, or do you not?
No, we don't. Well, it's kind of a funny thing, you know, we were wanted to suggest, find out if somehow, because we sort of fall under buildings and grounds,
Right, thank you.
and it comes out as the South School, it doesn't necessarily, you know, I mean, those of us who know it's the museum and the annex. I'm wondering how much of a, trouble it would be to sort of break that out, the cemetery, I mean, everybody else sort of has one, but if we could do something along that idea, just for accountability's sake. I mean, we have electricity in there, we've got, repairs and maintenance, miscellaneous and grounds. Now,
Well, I tell you, I know that has come up before. I don't know why it hasn't been ever broke out, but that's a good thing to I think that would make a lot of sense, and but the select board would do that. We should probably have a reminder when it comes to budget time
I
that
think
maybe we
Sally-
want to break that out.
Sally said at the last meeting that she
Set up
was
some
going
new
to do
account,
that.
so when we look at the new town
Numbers.
report, we'll see it sort of, those three items at least, so they come under different headings, so we know what's going on.
Well, what they would do is set you up with, like, supplies account, like you said, all those there, and then maybe a buildings supplies or whatever. I don't know how they would do it, or it's actually up to Sally, so.
Well, just so that we understand, what comes out of there, Heather Frost, does the landscaping and groundskeeping down there, and she's, I think she gets half of hers from one year and half from the next fiscal year, as far as the 1,200, so it's 6 and 6. Our porta potties are around, $500, for the season down there. So it doesn't leave a lot to do repairs, per se. Now, we were asked to go down there and kind of give an assessment of what needs to be done. One of the biggest items down there, we put a new step, because the step coming from the big flat rock into the museum, it was it had to be at least a 12-inch rise in there, so we've softened it, to a 6 and a 6 or somewhere along that way, because people were, especially elderly people, some people fell,
boy.
So we've taken care of that. We've done a step going into the annex. There was needed some work done there. The door needed an adjustment because it was getting extremely hard to open. But one of the bigger items that needs to be done down there are the windows. I took a walk around down there, and the casings are in pretty tough shape. There's a couple of sills that are just a minefield of ants or termites or something in there. They're toast.
Those
So-
those are the windows on the roadside.
Yes,
Those two windows.
exactly. So the question is, the laws dictating who can do what, for most any building that was built before 1978, you've got a good possibility of lead paint. So I guess I would question the board to say, what is going to be your desire in sort of keeping it within the statutes, because it's somewhat going to determine the price of fixing those windows.
Have you got a price?
Well,
Or do you have any estimates, or?
And the reason for me asking the issue of the lead, certification, because we have to hire someone with lead certification, that's going to drive the price in a different direction. So my first and foremost
Yeah.
question is to sort of quiz the board and say, okay, you guys need to come to a consensus and say, what's your desire and what do you want to do relative to the issue of the possibility of lead paint? Because it's I shouldn't say it's pretty specific, it's a little hazy in some areas. I know that, and part of my other questioning is that we're going to paint the south side of the Pond Road Chapel. And because of the size of it, we chose to hire somebody to do the lead abatement, and somebody who had the certification to deal with lead paint. So coming back to the issue of the windows at South School, the museum, what does the board need to huddle up and talk about this, or before I can get some direction on how to proceed with who's going to?
Well, I'm thinking that would have to be placed in the budget for next year. If it isn't budgeted for this year, I wouldn't foresee seeing any money spent if it's going to be a big amount. Do you know what I mean?
And I clearly understand that. I guess my point is, before I can tell you what a number is going to be, I need some direction to say, are we going to do this thing with somebody who is certified? And I fully agree, this is going to be a number, but I don't know if it's going to be X, 2X, 3X, depending on who has to do it.
Well, I would think that, do you know how long ago it was those windowsills were painted, or were they stripped at that time, or do we know, Sally?
I don't know. I mean, I think they might have been painted while I've been here once.
The last time the red was painted was in 2005. I don't know if the windows were painted at that time or not. The quote said red paint, so I don't
Because
know.
if it was painted, and scraped down and painted, then there wouldn't be lead paint.
Right, and that's exactly it.
Right.
So we need to know to the extent of which it was done, because the windows themselves really have deteriorated, and so the casings really need to be thoroughly scraped and filled and primed and painted. And then there are two sills, as Jeff pointed out, right there facing the road, Pond Road. The one on the left, as you face the building, I mean, you could stick your hand in there. It's really bad.
Well, then there may be a possibility that we could fix, one or two that are severely, that really extremely need it, and then do the others, put it, amount in the budget and stuff. I would say, go with the inspection of it, but if it had been scraped before and done within, since the year 2005, then it wouldn't be lead paint, right?
Well, I don't mean to be really nitpicking on this right here, but having some experience in this business, we need to know with some degree of certainty, did
Yes, if you
whomever,
don't.
to what was the extent of it being done, you know, and I agree with you, if somebody can, you know, somewhat provide with a certain amount of veracity that it was down to bare wood, and they have the credentials to do it, then we're golden, and I understand that,
Yep.
but I need to know where we are.
Yep.
So, I don't know who can provide that.
I don't either. Cookie?
You can take some scrapings of the paint down to the wood and get them analyzed as to whether or not they are lead. And then that way it would give you some direction as to whether or not where to go. And if you don't heed the fact that if there is lead there, you don't heed the fact, you can be fined upwards of 6-digit numbers. So you need to be sure of what you're painting over.
Well, I agree, and I think that's why we're having this conversation, but I guess my point is, who would do the analysis to determine if there's lead in that?
I think if you asked our painter, she could probably give you somebody to go to talk to, the museum painter. You can find out from her who to go to get some direction as to who could do the testing on it.
Who is that?
You can
Okay.
take, I don't know, Peg would know who it is.
Are you talking about the one that's painting the chapel, Suzanne?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Suzanne.
I
Yeah,
said
Suzanne Liberty.
Yeah, if you ask her, I think she could probably help you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can find out from that, because I'm having the same problems with my garage on Tyler Hill. I have to find out if I've got lead paint or not.
You can get lead test kits. They have swabs for them for $49.95. EPA approved.
Did you hear that?
Lead test kits
Yeah.
at
Yeah, they're usually
$49.99?
Hardware stores. You can also call the Department of Health, and they have a list of certified labs, too, that you can take a scraping to. Or it says you can use a home test kit to test ceramics, old painted toys, or furniture, and these kits are often available at a hardware store.
I wonder if those would hold through, because this is not a home thing, it's either municipal or town owned.
Municipal, yeah.
I don't think lead paint would be lead paint either way.
It's true, but would the kit hold validity because it's not designated for a specific thing, it's specifically for home?
The municipality might be held to a higher standard than
Yeah,
the
you go.
resident.
Well,
You can
the
send,
eight-
it does say you can send paint samples to a certified laboratory,
Yeah.
and you can call the Department of Health for a list of certified labs. They'll provide you with a list of them.
I think that, you know, personally, I think the select board absolutely would want you to be sure that there's no lead paint
Well, I
there.
agree.
You know what I mean? That's not a question. But you did mention money's left over. Sally, do they have any money left over, or?
No, in the museum, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and it's gone for this year, too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The way of the world.
Yeah, because I said that probably was a major, but if it's an emergency, though, do we have something
You
for
have your
case?
emergency funds that you set
Right.
aside,
Right,
so that would be available if you deem it
for, like, say that, huh?
I would think if the sills are that bad,
Especially,
if the sills are that bad, I would think it was an emergency.
Yeah, I can attest to that personally. But,
now, is it all of them, or could they wait, or the majority of them wait till next year?
It's the two on the Pond Road side.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure, actually, the one on the left has been replaced, and somebody put a big piece of pine in there, which, you know, just didn't hold up to the weather, so it was probably well-intentioned at the time, but, you know. So, all right, so I think what I'm hearing from you guys is that basically we need to determine, and we've got a couple of venues we can pursue as far as finding out, you know, if we have lead down there, but I think that's the wise course, but. Speaking of, again, Suzanne Liberty, who's doing the chapel, she is going to need a source of pressurized water to do the south side of that chapel. Now, we all know there's no water whatsoever at the chapel. I guess my question, is there any way the town can supply a water source? I don't know if we can run a hose from the pool?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe you'd have to
Run
talk
those
with,
across the road.
yeah, Seth, or even if Seth hasn't got the supply, why not the fire department? Ask the fire department.
Well,
Or is that too pressurized?
we're only going to do one side of it, we're going to do both at the same time.
Pull it right over to the other side. Sorry.
But it's going to be a source of pressurized water, like a garden hose, and maybe Seth is going to be the best. But is there a culvert that goes across without going
There is a culvert that goes underneath there,
10 miles down the road, though?
probably. No, I think it's just before,
By the basketball court.
yes, right by the basketball court, just before Huckle Hill Road.
right.
There's one right there.
Well, I'll talk to Seth and see what,
And that is if my memory doesn't fail me. I think so.
Well, she'd have a, either electric operated pressure washer or gas powered pressure washer. You just need the water
I'm
supply.
not sure, yeah, you could certainly, but even that, you're going to need, you're going to need water source to do
Right,
it.
yeah, yes, yeah, in that
I'm
case.
not sure exactly what I know that she has to enclose that with poly, so it keeps everything, from flying around and then clean up afterwards, but, all right. So we've solved the mystery of the money. Well, we haven't really solved it, we just.
No, we really haven't.
When can we increase that money?
When we do our budgets, whenever we start our budget, working on the budget this fall, right, and then, of course, it won't be available until July of,
The next July.
yes.
The Department of Health does say that they have some incentives for lead abatement, which might be worth checking into.
Say that again, please?
The Department of Health website
Yeah,
does say that there are some incentives for lead abatement on buildings, so it might be worth asking about.
but does that incentive apply to a quote-unquote public building?
Doesn't say. Just says that there are some incentives. Let's just see, I had it up here a minute ago.
Are there any historical grants?
It might be, but it says that they have an outreach program and they have an enforcement and compliant inspection program, and we provide additional incentives to encourage that renovation and demolition projects are conducted in compliance with regulations. Whether that would be helpful or not, I don't know, but it's worth probably asking that.
To go back real briefly to Cookie's question, what we would probably have to do is then find out exactly what kind of monies we're looking at to do the repair, with the lead and put it into the budget. But what I'm hearing you say, though, that the monies would not be available until,
The 1st of July of next year,
a year from now.
2013.
2013. But if it's an emergency, you just said that you could stick your hands through one of those windows on the sills or whatever, then we have an emergency fund for town buildings right now. We couldn't do them all because that is not an emergency, but we could do one or two, and if it's the two in the front, then, we could do that now.
All right. Well,
You could probably get until this fall, but then next spring,
Yeah.
before July, you'd
Yeah,
probably
we
want to
can-
get those done.
yeah, you can certainly do that.
It's almost closing up time this year.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll have to go down and reassess exactly those two sills right there and develop some numbers for the budget for next year. And,
I would include all windows for your budget next year.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You guys have any other questions relative to what we're talking about here?
Peggy?
I'm just still a little confused about who, once we get these figures together, and we decide, okay, we're going to wait until we get it approved at town meeting in March, who do we bring these figures to? Do we bring it to the finance committee? Do we bring it to you?
No, not to the finance committee. You would bring it to us. However, your budget is within the custodial's budget right now. You know, Dale has mentioned that, you know, it'd be a good idea to break that out. I personally, myself, I absolutely agree to that. I think that's a good idea. It always should have been out of their budget. And if so, then you all could work with Sally and get a, you know, like, what you want within the historian's budget, so to speak. And then you would put it in that, and then we'd ultimately get it.
So we approach Sally with it, and she will
Yes.
bring it to you
Yeah,
at budget time.
right.
How do we break it out? Who,
That's why I say,
We'll work that.
Yeah, she'll work that out with you.
Line items
Okay.
that you want. We've already
yeah, you have to have a line item for supplies, for whatever, you know, electrical, whatever. Yeah.
So we don't have to create a special article, you know, for the town meeting next year to do
No.
the repair work?
No.
Okay.
Now, no, you would not. If you were buying one item for $30,000, that'd be different, but you're not. Right?
is,
Well, I would say it would depend upon what the cost of this is,
Mhm.
that they may want to do an article for this particular project, depending upon the cost, and then have their ongoing budget maintaining repairs, might be. So depending upon
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cost, you may want an article.
If it is
For just
a
this
big amount, yeah, that may very well be, you know, beneficial for you.
And that can be
It's-
decided when
Right,
you
when
Right.
you
have
have
the
the figures
numbers.
together.
Yeah,
You'll know what you're looking at.
yeah.
So we present the number to the finance committee, and then you guys...
No, you do not have to go to the finance committee.
Just to Sally.
You need to go to Sally. She'll,
Who makes the decision? Well, whomever makes the decision to say if we're going to do it as an article or put it into...
we will, the select board.
Okay.
We'll work with you then, after that, after you've worked with Sally.
Okay.
is there a
And
limit?
Sally will know too. She'll give you
Is there a
heads up on that.
limit that it becomes an article if it is over a certain amount?
No.
Is there a
No.
No,
cutoff?
no.
Okay,
No.
who determines whether it should be an article?
Well, that would be the board, but,
Would it go through Sally first, though?
yes, because she's gonna set you up with a line item per line item per line item budget. But you're gonna also give her the figures. It doesn't matter what it is. And then if you want it as an article, we certainly can do it as an article, or the select board decides that they want to put it in an article. That's another thing too, to keep the budget down. But, go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, I was going to say that in your repairs line item that you'll have for the museum, you'll want to have an idea of what your yearly repairs might be.
Yeah.
And that would be what we would use, and then anything above that for a project, I think would be an article.
There you
An
go.
article's more like a one-time.
Yes.
You're going to replace all the windows,
Right.
and that would really be an article
Yep.
type of one.
Yep.
Well, does this sort of beg the question now, and do we need to get three numbers, you know, to do this? Because this isn't something that, you know, just, you know, I can go through and say, you know, Tom's Home Repair is going to be able to do this because, you know, of, you know, the historical, you know, way these things are done right here. So, I mean,
You could call people, whatever, get estimates on what it might cost.
that's my point. You know, I don't think that I can just go to anybody in the phone book, you know, and say, give me an estimate to do this, you know, because it's got, you know, an historical flavor, and replacing those sills aren't exactly, you know, something that you want to, you know, Joe Sixpack to come down here and try out his Sawzall on just to see how it
Well,
goes.
Because
But I mean,
it has to meet the integrity of the historical building,
Right.
doesn't it?
okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
my question is, if we get a person or a couple of people that we know can do this work, are we going to be satisfied with a couple of numbers just to balance, or do we have to have three?
I actually think it's, Sally, I think
I'm
it's
just
just,
going to tell you
I
that the
think
board
it's just-
can waive the bid.
that's right.
Okay.
Right.
So I think if you had some,
Somebody who's qualified
Yeah.
to do
they
this.
would probably
That's
listen
fine.
to you.
I mean, I
Yes.
understand where I'm going with this. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to play favorites, but I also just don't want just anybody going down there and whacking away at this. So-
They are, I think, original windows, because if you look at them, you'll see the waviness in the window.
You're right, the windows are, but I'd be willing to put serious money on the two sills facing Pond
Oh,
Road
sure
have been
not.
replaced once, and, you know, I think, you know, their selection of wood species, we probably wouldn't be sitting here tonight having that conversation, so, okay. I'm pretty well set. I think I got a direction to pursue here.
Okay.
You guys all set?
Well, thank
Very
you.
good, thank you for your time.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Dave.
you for coming. Next one up is cemetery. Do you want to come up, or do you want to we'll just take care of it? Cemetery Chairman, Mary Lynn. We have a contract, an agreement, excuse me, with House Lawn Care of Winchester.
Madam Chair,
Sandy?
I make the motion. The board approve and sign a cemetery agreement with House Lawn Care for the remainder of the 2012 season, and further to direct the treasurer to make payments to Mr. Howe the third week of August, September, October, and November.
I'll second that.
She's got it.
I know, but I need to read that motion you just read, because I'm not going to remember all that. Motion's been made and seconded for the board to sign the cemetery contract with Howe's Lawn Care for the remainder of the 2012 season, and further to direct the treasurer to make payments to Mr. Howe the third week of August, September, October, and November. It has been moved and seconded. What is the pleasure of the board?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want me to sign the letter?
Yes,
Is that what you wanted me to do?
after we sign.
Do they know how much money is there?
You told us it was
I told him, actually, I think it was less than that.
Yeah, you told him. Yes, a lot.
I'll talk to Priscilla.
Yeah. I just
We have
told
an
him-
amount in here.
I know. I
Are we
told him-
supposed to?
What is it?
The 8,313.71 that you gave me?
Very
Yes.
good.
I told him I was guessing. And I told him, they'll be happy, because I told them I was guessing and it was less than,
Okay, good.
that, so.
That's correct.
Mary Lynn's going to get myself.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Please do.
What happened to the other cemetery people that we had on the lawns?
He was, his agreement was revoked. Contract was, terminated.
You signed in the wrong spot.
I did?
Down here, if you look, please.
But it says witness.
That's for the caretaker.
It says witness.
You're in presence of.
Oh,
Sandy, can you make sure I just get a copy of the signed one? Thank you.
thank goodness for whiteout, huh?
I don't know. Civil line. Thank you.
Picky, picky, picky.
Sorry about that.
We good?
We're good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is air conditioning bids for the police department. I had it. Okay, there it is. I got it. Thank you, Sandy. And this is, okay, this was presented by Mike Coughlin, our maintenance supervisor. I guess the police air conditioning unit is a Lennox model MS7 NX. model, whatever, blah, blah. 18 BTU mini split air conditioner. And the bids were from Heritage Air Conditioning and Refrigeration for $3,925, Rocket Refrigeration for $4,000, Dampier Electric for $5,000, and Mike's recommendation is to go with Heritage for the $3,925. What's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we approve the bid from Heritage Air Conditioning and Refrigeration LLC in the amount of $3,925 for a Lennox MS7HO18P mini split air conditioning system for the police department.
I second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to go with Heritage Air Conditioning and Refrigeration LLC for $3,925 for a Lennox model MS7 Annex model MS7HO18P mini split air conditioner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, none. Treasurer? Yes, and I didn't come in today because I've been with,
I know.
I'm sorry.
Are you gonna, who's gonna sign?
Yeah, I'll sign them, yep. Yeah, because I had hot water replacement today, so. Oh, you've already done yours. Do you want to sign these then, unless there's anything from the town clerk? Then either Jeff or I can do it. Which is black, which is red here. Now, these names that, they must be recreation, am I correct?
Most of the ones you don't recognize, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We've got an additional 34 people looking for the record.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What can I say the name? J. Hoy? Right.
Yes.
We'll be getting done soon, going back to school.
It's scary as I see
It
kids.
is.
They're old enough to be there.
Some of them,
And this kid just born.
Did you see that the Rose School got hit by lightning and burned?
Yes, and it was totally destroyed. Oh, my goodness. Yep.
Charlie and Kate runs the leadership.
Oh, yeah.
I have looked these over before, that's what I'm saying about taking a long time.
Yeah, that one's done.
Okay.
Totally three.
Bring us out. This total? Oh, I see.
What is reimbursement for elliptical wellness?
It's our wellness money that we earned through our participation in different areas. We have a health screen. We have to do certain things for wellness in order to get money back, and we're not going to be getting any more. But the committee voted to give each wellness person an allotment of money to buy something for wellness, and one person bought an elliptical machine.
That's
So
cool.
reimbursing a portion of that.
Red. Thought it was done, but it's not. Sorry, Sally. Don't shoot me today.
No, you can. Okay, Madam Chair, I move that we approve warrants 3SG accounts payable, 29S payroll, 3S payroll, 31S payroll, and ratify 2SG accounts payable and 28S payroll.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve warrants 3SG in the amount of $173,030.80. 29S payroll, $17,176.29. 30S payroll, $18,560.68. 31S payroll, $16,811.06. And to ratify 2SG accounts payable, $76,719.80. 28S payroll, $18,253.64. All those in favor? Aye. Approved.
Okay, I don't know, I did send everybody an email today. I have a copy now of the actuarial evaluation for January 1st of 2011. And really what I'm looking for is you to review that at your leisure, but to make a time for Tracy Braun to come down from People's Bank to talk to us about it. We really have a pretty high
What's her
underfunded.
position?
She is our actuary for People's Bank. So she's created the report.
Yep.
And she would like to come down and talk with us about it. I also want to share with you that my last bank meeting that I had about a month and a half ago, I did discuss the possibility of changing our defined benefit plan and coming up sort of to the 21st century. And so Tracy also would meet with us about that, sort of tell us what our options are, what would work best for the town and the retirees that we have on the plan. But these plans are being phased out. They have been being phased out for quite a while. We've sort of held on to ours, but it's coming to the point where we're going to have to significantly fund it. So I think now is a good time to have that conversation about what we can do. Tracy can explain how the evaluation works. And basically what she's come up with is the fact that we're underfunded by over $100,000.
So this is essentially, when you hear news of other municipalities with public workers benefit programs and retired pensions, that are unfunded and they're not able to fund them. This is the horror stories that you always
Yeah.
read about a
Yeah.
lot of municipalities.
A lot of towns and schools too have underfunded. We had been overfunded actually until we reached 2008. We were 105%, so we were funded very well then. But with the stock, with the market really has been volatile since then. And we've increased our employee number and those who will be retiring. So it's a combination of things, but I would like to know from the board. I'm going to have to reach out to Tracy and give her some possible dates.
What about our first meeting in September? I think our meeting on the 20th is going to be a long meeting anyway, because we have a representative coming in from the police union. So, what do you guys
What time are you
think?
having a rep from there? Because I know that she'll be coming from Montpelier area.
We could do it earlier for her, right?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so,
Possibly do like a 5 o'clock or something.
yeah, well, I don't mind that, as long as the rest of them, I mean,
That's fine.
Our first
Yeah.
meeting in September is on Labor Day.
oh, so we're either gonna have to move that, or I mean, in, like, on Tuesday or Wednesday, or change it to the 10th, but then we'd be meeting Monday right after Monday.
Yeah.
Want to set that one for that date, for September 10th? Or meet that week? Or maybe just meet with her,
That week.
So we could do that too. We could have just a,
just a meeting with her, and then have a regular select board meeting after that.
But what is the
And I'd
precedent for
probably
select
give
board
her a
meetings
couple.
on holidays?
We either move it a day or two, or move it a week ahead.
Either a week or
Yeah.
a couple days afterwards?
Mhm.
I'm fine with
That's fine with me.
either way.
so I kind of would like 2 days to throw out just in case she can't
Oh.
make one.
Well, all right, let's go 5 o'clock, September 10th.
September 10th.
Or,
17th.
yeah, or the 17th, right, at 5 PM. Would that be all right with everybody? We could maybe get grinders and have a pizza or something,
And I will email her
Have
tomorrow
dinner?
and let you know as soon as I...
What do you think, Katrina, that could,
Yep, that could be arranged.
And I have here, I don't know if you want to do this, Chris, but I do have a bill for the they did 2 years of valuations, plus they have a transition fee that we knew about when we came on with them. The total bill is $8,200, and it does come from the retirement fund, so it doesn't come from our budget. I don't know if you want to approve that for payment, so I can pay it
I
out
don't know
of
if
the
they approve it
fund.
for payment.
Fine.
You have to second it.
I'll second it.
we actually, all three vote.
That's the worst part of
We
it.
all three have to vote in either the positive or the negative, but somebody has to second it. All right, motion's been made to go ahead and pay the $8,200 to People's Bank. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Do you want to sign?
Yeah, you want one of us to sign it?
You probably could.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Not in red, though, huh?
Here.
Thank you. Huh?
I'm going to watch you.
Oh. Why, so I don't steal your pen?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that, and I will let you know as soon as I can. Hopefully she'll let me know tomorrow. The other thing is, I don't know if you all got to actually see the policy that the safety committee came up with for the building evacuation and fire drill. I do have copies here if you need them, and I don't even need approval tonight, but we want to get it before you because it's been around for a while. And the only piece that is not completed here is the fact that we need to get escape routes. Our departments need to put their escape route up. But other than that, the safety committee did approve it to come before you. So I thought you might want to take a look and ask any questions or offer any advice that you have before we adopt it.
Do you want us to have it to go to the attorney for approval?
Sure. That'd probably be a wise thing to do.
Policy. I looked it over. I make the motion that we send it to the attorney for final approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to send this to our town attorney for final approval, or actually for approval for us to finally approve it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I just
Do you
have a
want
couple.
this? So you can scan it to him, or you can send it over?
She has it.
I have it.
You have it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you sent it to us.
Yes.
So please, would you
Yep,
email that up to him, or?
I will.
Just a couple quick things that I wanted to run by you. One was the last time I came, there was a discussion about the appreciation picnic and how much money, and if I could let you know how much is in there. And I'm not sure what you're looking at for cost, but we have $1,000 in appreciation activities. Last year, we spent $639.48. We do have a small balance of $360. That was left after the turkeys were bought. So we've been using that for the turkeys. So that is available from this year if you'd want me to hold it, because next year we'll have the same amount, and I'm assuming you're going to do turkeys again. If not, you'll have the full 1,000. So you'd have about $660 for your appreciation picnic to use if you want to hold that from this year, from 2012 over to next year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to hold over $360 of last year's budget into this year's budget for the appreciation picnic / whatever.
Okay, I'll put that right into the appreciation.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed.
And the other thing is, David approached me and told me that his cab and chassis are going to be ready on August 20th. And since you've already approved the purchase of it, may I cut him a check without your approval? Is that okay?
I would-
For the 20th, and then you'll see it at the...
We've already approved it,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. That's it. For me.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, moving on, thanks Sally. The Velco letter, Patty would have to sign it because she is chairman, and I would think that she would sign it, but this letter is to be sent to them, telling them that the neighbors that were kind of, a little...
Impacted.
Yes, by the view, are now okay with what they've done. So, if you give her permission to sign, we can have her.
You actually already gave permission for her to sign it, but you...
We have to ratify it because we did it. She asked us during email if we had a problem with it, I think.
No, actually, in the
last
minutes of
meeting.
last meeting, you actually approved for her to sign it, but there was a question
Oh.
about the Jobin.
Right.
if I
Yes,
got that
but
right, property.
she's
And
now.
since then, that
Yeah.
has been,
This is just an
it has
FYI.
met with Jobin's approval.
So this just is an FYI?
This
It
is
would
just
have
the
to be-
actual letter that I now have to give to Patty to sign. So
Well,
it's just an
I think
update on the
it's-
Jobin property.
So then we don't need a motion, it's a
You don't.
consensus, and we all agree that it's an okay letter to be sent, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The police officer oath, signature and approval. Now, that was made, I would say-
2011.
it was December, I was going to say November, so
No.
there you go.
December 2011.
All right, and I don't have that. So we need to,
Because we weren't here, and you didn't, 3 people didn't sign it, there's an addendum here to that oath.
okay. But we've already, we don't need a motion for that to sign, because it already was a motion to sign it before, so all we really need to do now is just sign it. Thank you. And it goes to you so you can keep it, right?
Yeah. I give a copy to the police and one to Sally.
Okay. Moving on to new business, the Vermont Public Service Board letter and signature too. This letter is also to the Public Service Board because VY is trying to put in or needs to put in a generator and to be in compliance with the NRC. So, do we have that letter?
You don't have an actual copy of the letter. I have a call-in to David for the exact wording that they would like in the letter. And so if you make a motion tonight to authorize you to sign it, I will drop off that letter to you to sign.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
So the motion is there.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to have me sign that letter to the Public Service Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Okay, now, moving on, the approval to use the parking lot. David and Maria Webb, that live right here in the old Boudin's place, is having a function at their house, and I believe it's all area churches, Vernon, Brattleboro, and beyond, are coming down here on Saturday, and they're asking if it's okay if they can use the parking lot here to park people.
It's a public parking lot.
Yes, and that's all they wanted. We do not need to make a motion, we just need a consensus that it's okay.
I have no problem with it.
I don't either.
That's fine.
So we have a consensus of the board to let them do that. All right. Our next meeting is August, before 7:30. Go ahead, Cookie.
This should probably be on unfinished business. The last time I was here, you told me to come in tonight, but I don't see myself on the agenda.
Wow, see that?
Yeah, how about that?
Well then, I'm very sorry, I apologize, come on up. And I think it's probably for some sort of, the card, now that you mentioned it.
No, it's for the bylaws that you were supposed to take and give to your attorney and then take,
Oh, well, I don't know if they've ever come back.
have them come back. Well, it would have been nice if somebody let me know.
They wouldn't have come back.
Then I wouldn't have darkened your door.
Have it on.
You know what? To see your beautiful face
Oh, yeah.
is fine. So you, it's
I don't
okay.
have any quarters. I left all my quarters at home.
How about bills?
I don't have any.
Anything, huh?
Cheap, we'll take anything.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry,
Okay, yeah, O'Donnell said guidelines to the attorney, and I should be put back on the agenda. for
yes,
meeting
I
of August
remember it now
6th.
that you mention it, yep. Did we send those bylaws up, or? I don't know.
Bylaws. It was not something I was instructed to send.
No, I know that Patty was, I didn't know if you,
I do not know.
Well, I hope they don't get lost.
well, I hope not, and I'm sure she sent them. But what I can do for you is I can, or even Katrina could call the attorney, or you're not gonna be yourself. Huh?
I can send it up.
Well, I'll call the attorney in the morning. How's that?
Okay,
And then I
I'll
can,
need an update.
and then I can, somehow get it to you. I could leave you a note, or I call you.
Well, I have a
leave message.
mailbox up here in the town.
All right, okay.
Okay.
I'll do that,
I'll be
Cookie.
waiting to hear
And-
from you, Chris.
All right, and then and please accept our apology. I totally forgot about that. But now that you brought it up, I do remember. But it was up to me to set the agenda. and I didn't even think about it, so please forgive the board.
Okay, and while I'm here, as long as I came for that, Katrina, I asked last time, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just to interrupt for a moment,
Mhm.
when you get it back from the attorney, as I recall, then if he says it's okay, if there are changes, we'll make the changes. If he says it's okay, then you all, as a board, are to approve it, and there's a line on it to sign.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know when it's coming back, so I can't really say. But if so,
Just keep that in mind when you...
absolutely, and if I find out tomorrow, I'll let you know, and then I'll let Katrina know so that she can remind myself and Patty that we'll put it on the next agenda, and we'll certainly let you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, that's that. And last time when I was here, I spoke to Katrina out in the lobby, and I said that I had never gotten my job description back after I made the comments on it that I made concerning the fact that it had not been updated, whatever. Anyway, so yesterday I found she gave me finally a copy of the job description. And she also gave me a copy of the minutes from July 11, that you have approved some changes. Now, I looked on this job description, and I don't see that the changes have been made on the job description itself, nor has it been, it said approved July 11th, but nobody has signed it as an employee, appointee, supervisor, or select board.
No, they haven't signed that. I pulled a copy of that from what I have. I didn't pull it in from anywhere else. I just pulled it off of my actual file system, so you could
Okay.
have a copy of it. I didn't.
Right,
they
well, it
haven't
hasn't
done
been updated or upgraded to reflect these things that have been changed in the minutes.
I'll check that again, but you and I had looked at that out there, so I thought we had,
It's not.
I had shown that. All
This is
right,
what you
I'll look
gave
at
me.
it again.
And my question, there's a few things that I need to bring up, and that is one of the statements that was made here. It says to attends a variety of meetings as needed, and someone in the select board wanted it changed to meet as needed with different representatives that use the bus. I also meet with a safety committee, I meet with selectmen's meetings, I have senior calendar meetings and others. It's not just those who use the bus. I attend various meetings, a variety of meetings. So I don't believe that should have been changed. The other thing that on here, it says performs daily and DOT preventative maintenance inspections, which should have been, you all wanted it changed to vehicle inspection report. This is called a driver's vehicle inspection report. If it's not stated the same way as it is here, it doesn't make this legal. This is, that statement has to be on the minute, in the
Okay.
job description. It can't be changed to anything other than that. And I spoke to David about that because...
I thought that they were written into that, and I'm sorry, it's not, it's not on Katrina, because they were done in the way that you had them.
Not on her computer, because this...
No, I'm trying to explain that, because I believe they were lost in 2009, so we had to come up with something, and I electronically got them over to Katrina what I had, and some of them were not the ones that were upgraded.
It says that it's approved July 11th on this form.
Well,
Yeah, and I'd have to...
yeah, we'll get that correct. We'll definitely get that corrected for you.
Any changes that the select board, however, made and approved,
That would be...
they would have to, if you wanted something now different,
It's not different, I don't believe.
No, she's asking for, like, on
there's
one
two
of those,
things that
there
I've
are
already-
two things that she's asking to be different. One,
Oh,
she
okay.
would like the wording of,
Yeah, then we would have to
go back to
reapprove it.
variety of meeting, that would have to be
Right. Yeah.
approved again, just.
Yes.
All right, now, the other thing it says here, it says to performs other duties required, hazardous materials should be checked off. Does that mean it needs to be taken off, or it needs to be checkmarked?
Should be check marked.
Check mark.
Okay, now, what type of hazardous material, because Mr. Mike Ball clarified what hazardous materials meant. What, if there's hazardous materials on the bus, I have to be placarded and I have to be educated in the
Yes.
field of hazardous materials.
Well, number one, what is the terminology there? What does it say? It has to be
Hazardous
checked off?
materials, yes.
Checked off. I wonder if it meant taken off.
Maybe.
Because she's absolutely right. What would be hazardous material? If you do, you have to go get a hazmat license. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Yes.
I spoke to
So-
David about that, and he says, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So
I think that needs to be stricken.
Yeah,
Well,
oh, it should have been
this-
stricken probably.
Yeah.
The select board's minutes
Right.
need to be corrected to reflect this.
Well, it will now, because it'll be in the minutes now.
1, 2,
Strike that from the record.
3. Number 4, yeah, okay, number 4 was to find out, and then O'Donnell asked for clarification regarding the ability to walk from the building to the bus. It was in there because the bus was run by volunteers in the past, and some of those were elderly. Wrong.
No, that's never been.
That is not correct. The reason for that being in there is the people riding the bus need to walk from their place where they live to the bus to get on the bus, because it is not a handicapped accessible bus. And if the people who are driving the bus have problems of walking between the bus and the house, they should not be driving the bus.
You think?
I would hope. If I get to that point, I'm not going to be driving the bus.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So that, this July 11th, these minutes,
I'm just recording what was said there. I
Yeah,
can't change
I know.
the actual
No, but it needs
minutes.
to be changed, because if somebody reads this, they're going to say, oh my God, they got somebody that can hardly walk to the bus that's
We
going
can
to be
make
driving.
that.
But it's not a motion.
It's not a motion.
So that
But
it's just a
statement that
statement.
is
But
ridiculous.
it is what was said, and so I
Yeah, she can't change the-
content of what
But
was
was
said.
it said?
Yes.
It was
Yes.
said.
It was said.
We can't change that.
So, you can go back and read through old minutes and that doesn't make any
I
sense.
know, it
Yeah.
shocks me.
But
Yeah.
it was
But I
said.
can't change
So
what it
She
said.
can't just
Yeah.
say, change, revise history.
But we can take this back and discuss that and have that changed
Right.
at a
Well, you're
meeting.
discussing it here, so
Yeah.
it will go into
It'll be
these
reflected,
minutes. Do you
uh,
see?
All right, one at a time, please.
Yes.
I'm getting confused.
Okay, the other thing that I have, and now.
Let me say something, while they were, Jeff had something you were saying something, one at a time, please. Go ahead.
Just to bring it up, talking about old minutes right now, it'll be reflected in these minutes, and hopefully anybody that reads those will read tonight's.
Hopefully not fall off the bandwagon thinking, oh my God!
Yeah, no.
Continue reading.
So, yeah, she can't change those minutes to take them out, but, tonight's
Right.
minutes
Tonight's-
will reflect your clarification of
Yeah.
that misstatement.
Yep.
Okay, now, I
you,
don't
Beth.
know, when am I supposed to get a copy of this, that I'm supposed to sign? When am I supposed to sign this document, job description, and when are you all supposed to sign it?
I thought that they were going to be at the town clerk's office, and the chairman's going to sign them? I don't remember exact
A
wording
lot
of
of
that,
them were
but...
already signed, had
Right.
been already signed. It was approved and signed.
Now, did we approve all the minutes, all the job descriptions? Because I think that what happened is, the rush to get them done, I thought that we were perhaps doing the ones that were already signed, but
They were all approved.
I would say as soon as we get it rewritten for them.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
now,
Probably.
it says a motion was made by Christiane Howe to accept the bus driver job description with corrections. Motion seconded by Robert Miller, and motion carried 5-0. But my statement to you all is that I don't think there's one person here that would sign and approve something that's incorrect, nor sign something that has not been approved by the select board
Right.
and left blank for me to sign.
That was just a copy for you to
Right.
look at. It was not the original one. It's not the
I
one
know,
with the
but what I
signature
want
on
is the
it.
original one to be
I
corrected and
can't-
something
yeah, but I
done.
can't give you the actual original. It was supposed to go to the department heads, and the
Yeah.
department heads were supposed to bring it to the employees.
And this department head gave it to me.
Do you want to say
This
something?
was, I don't know when, this was quite a while back. And Patty had given them and said they were all updated, and I gave it back to David with a whole bunch of statements on it that I had the July 11th, and they didn't reflect it. Then
Well-
you gave me the
Right.
same copy that it still does not reflect it. So-
Yeah, well, it just hasn't caught up with her yet. What she gave you was an old copy that I had without any of those new corrections on it, but we'll get you the new one.
Yeah, well,
The
and
corrections.
it needs to reflect the corrections, because when anybody does a contract with the town, you know, or they make a petition, I have learned that if the petition is illegal, if you stick in an extra page at the end that doesn't have the same stuff on it. So
Yeah, those
now
are-
all has to be corrected and approved by the select board and accepted to be sent out to people to be signed. It can't just be left for people to sort of fill in the blanks. And a new employee, you're not going to give them a copy of the minutes and a copy of the job description and say, wing it. You want my quarter, you gonna give me my quarterback?
Yes, I got.
Okay.
Well, thanks. We'll get this all.
Complaining I got.
Okay, good. And I don't mean that facetiously.
It's all right, Chris, go for it.
Sorry. But we will get these done for you, and the minutes will reflect what you have said
Okay.
tonight.
Wonderful.
Yep, thank you very, very
Thank
much.
you.
All right. Select board meeting, next one is August 20th. There's no media here, so guess what?
So I move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion made to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You like to, you're not supposed to,
I just wanted to do that one more